Say for the record, I emulate no one. Because it's important to know a lot of people base their careers, especially when they're new careers, on trying to sound like Aretha Franklin or sound like Otis Redding. My whole perspective was that I didn't sound like anyone. I sounded like Luther from the beginning, and that's how I sustained this career for so long.
My favorite singer is all time is Teddy Pendergrass. Okay. But I understand why Luther is considered the all-time great. One is because Luther Vandross had an extremely long career. So people of a certain age, they might have heard the music. And as they got older, he was always around. So if he wasn't on the radio, he was doing music videos. And he just had his first breakthrough album was in 1981. And the last album that he made was Dance with My Father, which came out in 2005, right? So think about that. So that's over 20 plus years. So that means that during the time he came out up until 2005, his final album.
I like that. It's gonna be you. Be still in love with Good night, everybody. Great expression of happiness.
Aretha Franklin from her house just outside of Detroit in Bloomfield Hills. And sitting there at the piano with her, and she starts singing Curtis Mayfield's song, The Makings of You. Add a little sugar, honeysuckle, and I just lost it. I just started crying. We're recording this special. I just started crying because there was so much in that moment to me. It was, first of all, the greatest voice I've ever heard in my life is singing to me, one-on-one, in my ear. This is the queen. I'm sitting on her throne, and I just didn't know how I got there. Wow. You know what I mean? It was too much for. How did this little boy used to look for a Cadillac end up here? And then let me take this all the way to the end. Her funeral. I went to her funeral in Detroit, and as I'm walking down the aisle, when I first got there, and the casket's laying there, she's got these two big burly bodyguards at either end of the casket. And as I get up to her, I wanted so badly to touch her, but I didn't know if that was allowed. I've never been to a royal funeral before, and but before I know it, my hand is on her, man. And lo and behold, they didn't pick me up by my elbows and take me away, and it was that moment I realized that although you're a villager, she is your queen, and she belongs to all of us. And you are worthy. And it was just a very deep moment for me, man. I just truly, truly, truly love that woman. I've never heard a voice. I've never heard anyone sing with more passion. There's no one that moves me more than Aretha Franklin. No one that feels a song more than Aretha, man.
I mean, for our generation who didn't get to see sort of the best of it. I mean, we would know her when she sang with George Michael, in the 80s. So we'd seen a different. We didn't get to see her back in the 60s and the 70s. What was different about her singing and her as a?
It was just what passion. No one can match that. I mean, had an incredible voice. There's no question about that. But just, it's like this one song. It must be like living in a tunnel. But anyway, hear my plea. That section there. Every time I would cry, and when she died, the night before her funeral, Stevie Wonder was here in Washington, D.C. performing. As a matter of fact, they moved Aretha's funeral back to that Friday because of Stevie's commitment that Thursday, because they wanted him there. So they moved her funeral back one day to accommodate Stevie. So I'm at the concert, and I didn't know this. Stevie, at this point in the concert, acknowledges the Queen's death. And he says, I want to play a song. It's a song I wrote for Aretha. And he plays Until You Come Back to Me. And I had no idea. And when he gets to that section, he lost it. He lost it. He just started crying. The same section I've been crying on for all these years. It was just such a spiritual moment for me to, friends too. And to learn of that connection that I didn't know. All these years, this thing has moved me so, but I didn't know that was one of the reasons why. This is Stevie too, So anyway.